All right, all right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hustle Hit Never Quit podcast, the show where we mix heart, hustle, and home ownership with a little NOLA flavor and a whole lot of real talk. I'm your host, Coach Nate the Lender, mortgage pro, softball coach, mindset builder, and your favorite neighborhood motivator. And today, man, we got a good one. It's special. This one right here. This isn't just another solo episode where you get to look at just me, man. We are making history today, bringing in our first ever guest. And let me tell y'all, couldn't have picked a better one to set the tone. He's a beast in the real estate game, coach, and somebody who leads with authenticity, passion, and purpose. From KW Metairie, it's my dude, Michael Danny Lester.
Oh, with the applause. Thank you.
In the building, baby. We're talking branding, balance, staying productive in a city that throws a festival every other weekend, and what it really takes to stay consistent in the business and in life. So if you're a real estate pro, future homeowner, or somebody just chasing that next level, this episode is for you. So let's dive in, let's level up, and as always, let's hustle, hit, and never quit. Danny, let's go. All right, so.
Good little vibe there.
Good little vibe, huh?
Mm-hmm. Thanks for having me as the first guest. I'm super excited to talk to you.
First guest, man. First guest. This is making history. Neither one of us know what we're doing, but we know what we're doing in the market. So let's go. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
So, Danny, man, let's jump into who you are, man. As a real estate agent, a coach, give us a little quick background of who you are, what you're about, and what you're bringing to the table in the industry.
I guess a little bit of background about me. I started real estate back in 2018 in January. I was working part-time. I was waiting tables over at Kitty's restaurant in Mid-City. And then in the evening, I was working in real estate. I sold 8 homes working part-time my first year. And then in 2019, I went full-time and sold 36 homes and won Rookie of the Year that year at Keller Williams, which was a really great awards win. Got presented it, and it was a highlight because I knew that I had to change my life from waiting tables.
Right.
And when I hit that wall, there was no fail. Like it was. You know, I had a lot of passion, I had a lot of drive, and I knew I was not going to fail in this venture because I knew what the fallback was going to be. So I was very driven, and at the time, it was, when I was full-time in 2019, it was literally 6 a.m., sometimes to midnight, just working 7 days a week.
Oh, yeah, that grind never stops. And if we're going to fail forward. We're not falling back.
That's right. So yeah, it was great. I went in 2020, tried to get a whole team together and everything, which didn't exactly work out the way that I wanted it to work. I had a little bit of a hard time leveraging out things to people because I like things to be done a certain way. I like people to be well taken care of, but that didn't work out. But at the same time, I learned a lot from the experience. And so I left Keller Williams at the end, I believe, of 2022 or beginning of 2023 to try to build something, a brokerage, and that's kind of when the market started to tank. So I ended up coming back to Keller Williams as a productivity coach and on the staff over there, helping to grow the business there. And then after that, kind of put all my passion and focus back into my real estate business. So I'm coaching people individually now and no longer on the staff, but my business is definitely thriving from, I guess, a little bit of outside the box thinking when it comes to the way that I approach real estate and stuff like that. So, you know, the Keller Williams way is here is your overall model. And if you follow the model, you'll be successful. And I've kind of taken it to where I really know the model of how to be successful, and now I'm starting to branch out outside of the box and make that model expand a little bit more.
And honestly, Danny, I think that's what really attracted me to you, man. You do things differently. You put your own spin on things. And in our type of market, the differentiation and separating yourself from that normal cookie cutter model, I think is very important because we're in a city that separates itself from the norm.
100%.
Would you agree?
I agree 100%. And there's thousands of real estate agents in the city.
Absolutely.
Thousands. And, people see the money that the successful real estate agents make and they're like, oh, I'm just going to get my real estate license, jump in, and I'll be making money, which is not the case whatsoever.
Not the case.
So, it's a grind. It's very challenging. You have to be very focused and you have to be very disciplined in order to be able to execute at a high level in order to make the kind of money that people see other people make. But a term or a sentence that I've kind of coined that I think is very important for people to understand out there that are watching this and listening to this is that 95% of the agents in this city aren't qualified to show a house, let alone sell one. So you need to find an agent that really is experienced and knows how to negotiate, knows the ins and outs of the business and the laws and everything in order to get you to that level, because it's a tale as old as time. I get people calling me all the time. They're like, my current realtor is just not doing it right. Don't know what's going on. Would love to meet with you. And it happens. I probably get a call once a week from people who are.
Wow. And that's huge, man. How long would you say it took you to find your comfort, to find your groove when you really started feeling like, man, I love this. This is great. I'm damn good at it. Like, how long did it take you to really hit your groove?
It really took me, let's see, I'm approaching my 8th year, and I'm going to say confidently it probably took me a solid 5 years. Mm-hmm. And that's because with my drive that I have, because when I'm focused on something, I'm doing it, right? And so my problem was I would work extremely hard, like work myself basically to death at all hours and all days from February to October. And then by mid-October, I would burn out so bad.
Right.
Like brain fog, tired, don't want to talk to anyone. And then I would kind of take my foot off the gas because I'm trying to focus on my mentality.
Right.
And so then from November, December, January, it would be like a 3-month recovery period. And then February would start again, and I'd do it all over again.
All over.
And I did that for about 5 years. Okay. Until I said, gotta stop doing this. Mm-hmm. I had a daughter, Zoe, who's amazing. And, I decided I wasn't going to let myself get back to that burnout point where I need to recover because I needed to do that for her. Mm-hmm. So I needed to reevaluate how I did things. I needed to reevaluate my work ethic. I needed to time block better to make sure that I could be done at a certain time and cut it off and be there for my family. Mm-hmm. And in doing so, it helped enlighten my mentality and how I needed to accomplish things in order to not have that burnout. Mm-hmm. Because in the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book that Gary Keller wrote, he speaks to something called your ceiling of achievement. And your ceiling of achievement is a wall that you constantly hit that you can't break through. Mm-hmm. And you keep hitting it because you keep doing things the same way that you're going. And I took that ceiling of achievement as burnout. Because if you keep going as hard as you can the same way, you're not going to break through that burnout. Right. It's when you do things differently and you reevaluate, that's when you can really blossom and bloom and break through that ceiling of achievement and accomplish things that you didn't think you did. And, I know I'm kind of rambling on, but every single week, I dedicate one day, 3 hours to white space time, where it's literally me focusing on new ideas, new ways to approach certain topics in certain situations, new ways to bulletproof transactions to make sure that I have covered every scenario that can pop up, ways to influence people in my market center to make sure that they understand that they need to keep their foot on the gas, but they need to do it in a smart way. Right. And so, the white space time has really helped me. Even sometimes I'll just sit there and maybe meditate, you know what I mean? Just kind of take it all out of my brain and really just be. And that's been pretty important to my mental. That's huge, man.
I love to hear that because you have so many real estate agents out there that just want to roll out of bed and start selling houses and think they're going to be successful in 1 to 2 years. Even lenders thinking the same way. And 2 of my very best friends from high school, man, shout out Chris Hamilton, Clayton Fields, you know who you are.
Shout out.
They let me know 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years is really when you're going to figure out what you're made of, what's inside that's passionate enough to take you to that next level. So the grind never stops. Obviously, we want to make sure that we stay mentally healthy, stable.
Yeah.
So make sure that we're setting those times aside for our families, for our friends, and really just to kind of disassociate, because it's so easy to just spiral and just be engulfed in the game, and just you never know when to turn it off.
It is.
I mean, I wake up 2, 3 in the morning sometimes, like, oh wait, did I send this? Did we get that?
Right.
And it is what it is, man, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Well,
So
there's a book out there called The 12-Week Year, which is an amazing book about goal setting. And if you take, because it is true, I do believe that if you are very smart and you're very strategic and you work and you take action, the 3 to 5 year plan, if you're not making six figures in this industry by that point, then you need to reevaluate. And so, because the money is there, there's more than enough homes that are selling in the entire greater New Orleans area to support every single realtor, every single one. There's plenty of business, okay?
plenty.
But at the same time, you have to prioritize and set your goals to where you set a 5-year goal of what you want to accomplish and you work backwards.
Yes, couldn't agree more.
So go 5 years and go, okay, this one I want to achieve in 5 years. In 1 year, this is what I want to achieve in 1 year. Down to 6 months, down to 3 months, down to 1 month, down to a week, down to today. And then you chip away to get there, which keeps your eye on the prize, keep your eye on the goal. And, before you know it, after a year, you're like, wow, I accomplished all those things I wanted to accomplish and then some. And then, it helps you stay on the path of what's important and what you're focused on doing when you keep constantly referring back to, this is what I want to do in 5 years. And, that's been a very, very critical part of my planning and my career has been goal setting and making sure that I have my eye on the prize.
So speaking of the long-term plan, the 5-year plan, what was per se your kind of short-term plan? Maybe your 1 to 3. What would a new agent coming into the business, yes, they want to set that 5-year goal because that's kind of where you want to be in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you say that they need to focus more on in the first 1 to 3 years?
Everything is centered around generating leads. Without leads, you don't have clients. Without clients, you don't have closings. Without closings, you make no money.
Truth, facts.
So everything needs to be centered around, number one, building the foundation of your business, because you need to have something to promote to the people. So there's another book called B with a period, that is all around, centered around, I forget the author, but it's all centered around creating your brand and creating your brand based off of your pillars and what's true and authentic to you as a person. And it's got a bunch of worksheets and stuff like that in it, but it truly helps you get to the core of who you are as a person, what you represent in this reality, in this society that we live in. And people who do that and build their branding around that, it takes a step of the imposter syndrome out of it. You know what I mean? Because
Absolutely.
When you start a new career, a lot of people have that imposter syndrome. So like, okay, I'm new in this. I don't really know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like a fraud. But you're not. You're just starting something new. Like, you have the vision in your brain of what you want to be, but you're just not there yet. So the lead generation and building the foundation of your branding and of your business are the two most critical parts that you need to focus on constantly. And when I say constantly, I mean like 2 hours a day, constantly. Because if you don't, that's what makes the real estate roller coaster a reality.
Yeah, what did they say? How does it go? Energy goes where focus flows.
That's right.
So
That's right.
Stay focused, man. Stay driven. Stay disciplined. That is the name of the game. Stay disciplined.
That's right.
You really can't help achieve those goals that you want without the discipline. So Stay grounded, stay humble, and keep going. Man, Danny.
We're human. So like we unfortunately, the negative thoughts creep in. I call them negative punches. You know what I mean? You'll be out and about, and all of a sudden you'll be like, boom. It's like, why am I thinking this way? why am I all of a sudden overthinking? You know what I mean? And that is my I'm my own worst enemy. You know what I mean? Like people are constantly like, oh man, like please teach me how you do this, and blah blah blah. And in my own mind, a lot of times I'm like, I'm not even where I want to be. You know, but it's like I have accomplished a lot, and I need to be humble about that and understand and not be so hard on myself because I want to go from here to here when my goal 5 years ago was to get to here.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm there. And it's like I need to stop being so hard on myself because I am here. And I try to share that with people. And that's why I really love coaching, and I really love helping people break through their own, I guess, self-sabotage. Because if you start overthinking, perfection causes paralysis, right? Mm-hmm. So if you overthink so much, you make no progress.
Correct.
So at least getting 1% better every day, wake up and say, okay, no matter what I'm going to do, I'm going to learn something that makes me 1% better today. And then sure enough, after 100 days, you're 100% better.
100%, baby. I love to hear that, man. That's one thing that I coach, one thing that I teach, one thing that I tell my team. Look, better today than you were yesterday.
That's right.
That's all we can strive to do. Man, Danny, I love where this is going, bro. We are just getting started, man. We are just getting started. But before we jump into the next segment, man, let's give the people a little bit more about you on the outside part of real estate, Danny.
Okay.
Give them a little bit about what you do when you're not selling homes or coaching, or what type of hobbies to keep you grounded or fueled in the game.
I am a musician at heart. So before I was a realtor, when I was waiting tables, I was also a touring musician. I did the art, did the bookings, negotiated the pay. I love music more than anything, but I also love film and TV. I'm very much entertainment as a whole. So, I love to watch movies. I love to discuss with friends. I have groups, chat groups about movies that come out, have discussions. Love that. Love to do that. I love to write. I've written screenplays. I've written... currently in the progress of writing a little book right now myself. I just love being creative and also being a dad, which has been probably more gratifying than I ever thought it would be. They say that when you have a kid and you hold it in your arms the first time, your whole life changes, and it's couldn't be more true. The second that I held my daughter in my hands, I was like, well, my life's done. Like, I'm living for this little person.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Look, you see her all up on the wall. Shout out Annabella. She changed my life, man. Really, really have so much gratification towards her.
And you got a new one coming.
And I got a new one coming, baby. Y'all can't have the name yet, though. That's a surprise.
Nope, because guess what? People are going to steal the name. They'll take those names.
Signed, sealed, and delivered, baby. Y'all will find out in February.
Don't tell a soul.
So, speaking of the creativity, man, what you do in your hobbies, how did your hobbies and passions translate over into business?
Well, being the artist and the marketing person for the band that I was in back in the day, I learned a lot about, I guess, for lack of better words, graphic design, and how to promote and how to market my way through people that way. And so when I got my real estate license, that was just second nature to me. I was like, okay, I know how to do this already. I know how to market and stuff. And I'm just going to take everything I've ever learned from being hands-on in the music industry and translate that into real estate in order to brand my business. And that in itself was just, it was a game changer. They say that everything happens for a reason, and at the time, though I felt like I was banging my head against the wall trying to succeed in the music industry, I learned so much about marketing and about creating and editing videos and editing graphics and creating flyers and creating logos and everything like that I could easily do that when I got to real estate.
Love it.
So that, and then waiting tables, you have to have a servant heart waiting tables. And I like to tell all the people that I coach who are brand new agents, you can treat the real estate industry almost like starting a new wait staff position. You have to learn a menu. You have to learn what items you can substitute. You have to learn what sauces go with what. You have to learn what can be interchanged, and then you have to learn the process of how long the food comes out, and yada yada yada. And when you first start, you don't have all those answers. You may just have like a 3-day training period, but you have to talk to the kitchen. You have to ask them the questions. You have to talk to the managers. You have to ask them the questions. And then the more you get the answers to those questions, the more it's just second nature when you go in. Every little thing about a menu, about the restaurant, how it flows, how it functions, that you come in and you kick ass and then you roll out with your tips. And I think that real estate is very, very similar, because when you come in, everything you learn in real estate school, rarely any of it you're applying to your daily life. I feel like it's just a test to make sure that you have the brain cells firing off enough to where you can represent something. And so everything that I've really learned about the industry has been through experience and just throwing myself to the wolves. And I've experienced a lot. In fact, my first ever real estate deal that I ever did was for one of my really good friends. And the husband and wife of that house decided they were going to get a divorce after we went under contract. The wife filed a lis pendens against the property, which prevented transfer of any title. And the husband and wife were fighting with the 3 active sales, and they never showed up. And, I was still smoking cigarettes at the time. So I was going through like a pack, like a day. I was so stressed out. It's like my first real estate deal, right? And it just happens to be one that is like lit on fire. And but I learned a lot from that transaction. Learned a lot. Ended up not closing on that house, but ended up, going through some litigation with my client, with those sellers. They ended up coming out on top and getting a better house that he liked more. And so I learned from that one transaction that everything will work out one way or another. Like, I can't sit here and stress myself out and chain smoke, trying to overcome the stress, because it's going to work out one way or another. And with that mentality, it takes a weight off of your shoulders. Trusting in the universe or God or whatever you want to, or whatever you believe in, trusting in that, taking the reins, and that everything has already been written and everything's already been told, and that you have no control. All you can do is take action because everything's already written. It takes such a huge weight off of your shoulders, because it's like, okay, I'm not in control of everything. And you almost just, your breath, you breathe better, you hold yourself better. You're a happier person because you don't have so much weight on your shoulders. And I learned all of that from like my very first transaction. And so, you learn a lot from what you experience, even though when you're going through it, it may not seem that way at the time.
For sure, man. Servant mentality speaks volumes to me. Those of you who know me, 10 years in the service industry, bartending and whatnot, I brought a lot of that to the business, because you really want to think about what people need before they even realize they need it.
Yeah.
So serving them and making sure that you are putting all those things in line, the timing standards, the attention to detail, to knowing people's wants, needs, priorities, man, all of that I feel like translated over to me in my business as a lender, to other real estate agents. So those of you who are out there in the industry, man, don't write it off. You could be a lender, you could be a real estate agent, you could jump in this game with us, and we could be making the next deal together.
100%.
All right. So speaking of branding, speaking of being yourself, why do you think authenticity is so important in this business?
Well, because people can smell it. Like, you put stuff out there on the internet for everyone to see. Millennials and Gen Z are the future right now, right? And I don't even know what they're calling the next generation. Do you?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no idea. But they can smell the BS, right? So like, you put out a video where you're not being yourself and you're reading a script and you're robotic about it, and people can see that, and in this 3-second world where you're marketing on the internet, you have to stop the scroll, and people know in 3 seconds whether or not you're being authentic or not. So if you aren't truly behind your words of what you're saying and come off as authentic, then people will smell it, and you're not stopping them. They're not going to give you a care in the world.
What advice would you give somebody who's trying to kind of find themselves and build their own personal brand that actually connects?
I think the most important thing and aspect of that is that you need to give yourself time. Don't run before you walk. Like if you say you got your real estate license and you're super excited about it, and you're like, oh, I'm going to quit my job, get into real estate, and going to start making money, right? You need to, first of all, you need like some finances saved away, because as soon as you start real estate, you're not going to start making money for another probably 3 months, right? So you need to have some reserves. But it's all about taking the time to put together your business plan, your branding, and you can take 6 months before you attack. You know what I mean? So if you're still working your job, get your real estate license, I would highly recommend that you need to take the time to really truly focus on who you want to be and what you want to represent. And as authentic as you can be, it's really what your core values are as a person, because every person is different and every person is fighting battles people know nothing about. You know what I mean? So like, you have to really dig inside yourself and find out what your big why is. Like, why are you doing this? And kind of build from there. Your why should be your foundation as to what and how you want to brand yourself. And then you build from there. This is why I'm doing it, and this is who I am, and this is what I want to present to the world, and this is the stepping stones I'm going to take to be there. And so, I think that really finding out what your big why is will answer a lot of those questions, because you can kind of build around that.
And I agree more that comes with self-reflection.
Yeah.
That comes with looking at the man or woman in the mirror and like who you are to the core, like what makes you happy. Because Danny said it best, man. They can smell it. Everybody can. You can read through the BS nowadays. Far none. And perception's everything. So one thing that I want to say is stop comparing yourself to the next person.
Comparison is the thief of joy.
The thief. It will rob you of the joy that you deserve and that you are striving for. So don't try and be like the next person. Don't try and be the next viral thing on the internet, man.
That'll drive you crazy.
Truly.
That'll drive you crazy. You'll sit here and you'll go through algorithms all day long, which I have done. You'll go through algorithms. Okay, this is how the algorithm works. I need to use these hashtags. I need to make sure that I do this. And it needs to be 10-second video to make sure that I'm getting people, that's not it.
Right.
You need to just be you. You need to put out the content you want to put out, because people will see that is the authentic you.
That's it. And that's a key takeaway for this one, man. Real wins come from real people showing up day in and day out. You never know who you're going to inspire out there. You never know who you're setting the tone for. You don't know whose day you're going to make by just being you.
That's right.
Stay true, stay you, and keep going, man. Keep going.
That's right. And daily affirmations are great. I actually have sticky notes around the mirror of my bathroom. It's daily affirmations. I'm a great father. I'm a great realtor. I care about people, and just saying those things out loud, or at least at a minimum, reading them while I'm brushing my teeth in the morning, it goes a long way. Because if you don't believe those things about yourself, no one else is going to.
I'm going to have to get some sticky notes for the bathroom, because I do the same thing, man. Daily affirmations. I am are two of the biggest words that I feel like you can ever do for yourself by speaking that into existence. I am a great father. I am a great lender. Just, you got to know in your mind that you are worthy. You are better. Keep going and keep speaking those things into existence.
Couldn't agree more.
Man, let's talk about productivity in a party town. New Orleans, festival. What are you doing to stay focused, to stay structured in a market like Metairie, like New Orleans, where the calendar is chaos?
Honestly, it's kind of a bittersweet. It's a blessing, but it's also a curse, because you want to have events for your seller clients and you want to have open houses and stuff like that, but There's festivals all the time. There's Saints games all the time. If you have to, you can't let the city work against you, and it will constantly.
Oh yeah.
So whenever you have to constantly keep your eyes on the calendar, you can't schedule things that are going to deter foot traffic that are coming to your events and stuff like that. And then there's also ways that you can infiltrate those things. Like I used to have a table at the both the Rivertown market and the Harrison market, where people are walking around and at these events, and you can talk to them about it. So there's also ways of infiltrating these things and getting your name out there and getting clients that way. So you can use it to your advantage, but also you can't let it inhibit or disrupt what you're trying to accomplish as far as events or things of that nature. But you also can't get wrapped up in it too. I'm 37 years old, and I'm just recently understanding, okay, every time I go out to dinner or whatever, I don't need to have a drink. I don't need to do it. Because in the city of New Orleans, drinking is sociability.
Yep.
You go out, no matter where you go, you're going to have a drink in your hand. It's almost like a sense of comfort.
Yes.
But we were raised that way in the city. So
it's true.
It is true, And so overcoming that and understanding that, like, okay, can't let this vice overcome me, even though I was brought up with that vice. So I was like, okay, I need to look at this from the outside. Like, okay, I don't need to do that, or I'll have a soda water with a lime and something like that. You know what I mean? If I need that comfortability and that to keep me grounded by holding a drink, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't let the city get you, because it will.
Oh, it'll eat you
very,
alive.
very easily. And you need to use what the city has going on to your advantage. And so those are two key takeaways that I recommend.
I love it. Love it. What are some of your non-negotiables, your daily habits that keep you sharp in a city like this?
I have a book. I have a book every morning. I actually keep it in my car, and it is it's got every day of the year in it, and it has I forget the name of the book, of course, blanking, but a client actually gave it to me, and every page has a different not really a scripture, but it's something based around what your mentality needs to be. And so when I get to where I'm going, no matter if it's to the office or my first appointment, when I stop, that's the first thing I do. I read like this passage from this book. And so that's the very first thing I do when my day gets started. And other than that, it's really, my calendar is so important to me, like to a point where, like, even if it's something that I need to make sure I'm doing for my own mentality, I put it on my calendar. So, I got calendar linked to my watch, calendar linked to my phone, so I know everything that's coming up. So, in fact, right here after this, it says white space on here, because after we leave here, I'm going to do my white space, you know what I mean? So, constantly being reminded of what you need to do throughout the day makes sure that you stay on track. And even if it's to a point where it's like, okay, I need to like close my eyes and just focus on my end goal for 5 minutes. Like, put that on your calendar, get a notification about it, and then you'll do it. You know what I mean? You need to be held accountable for what you want to accomplish, and the only way to do that is to be very structured about how you bring that to life.
And I think that's one thing that I'm still working on too. I think a lot of us are, is you can get so wrapped up in the blowing and going and just nonstop. I mean, our brains are such powerful things that you can easily get lost in trying to do so much and you don't get anywhere at all. It's like just running in place.
They call that the 80-20 rule, right? You're focusing on the 80% that doesn't matter instead of the 20% that does.
Right.
And once you realize what the 20% is that you truly need to do that is going to take you from X to Y, that's the 20% that you go all in on, because that's what matters the most. You'll have these agents that are just starting and they spend 4 months on building a website. What is that going to get you? Nothing.
Not a sale.
Nothing. It's like, that is just 80% that doesn't matter. You need to do the 20% that matters, which is calling the people, making sure to get in front of people, making sure that you your brand is your brand so that you can share it with as many people as possible. And creating a website alone for 4 months and not doing anything else that's not it.
Right.
That's not
Yeah, we could be doing a lot better things with our time for sure. I mean, hey, granted, the website,
it's great.
Take your time with it.
For sure. But like,
get those leads, get those
leads. Focus on a website for 4 months straight.
No, you need those leads, you need those clients, you need those contracts, we need that closing table.
That's right.
Because we need that money to fund that website.
Yes, right.
So I love it, man. Look, we're going to take a brief little break right here. We're going to make sure we got all the quality checks in place, and we'll be back soon.
Go.
All right, jumping right back in here with Michael Danny Lester. All right, Danny, let's do a deep dive, man, onto what clients really need to know, man. What is something that buyers or sellers often misunderstand when starting the process?
Well, first is the process itself. A lot of people don't understand, what really step-by-step goes into the home buying or home selling process, especially, obviously, people who've never done it before. So, I have guides that I provide for my people that outlines step-by-step the home buying process, the home selling process, so that if there's any question you ever have about what comes next or anything like that, you can see what happens. And I think as far as home buying goes, the thing that you need to truly understand is that insurance is a big deal right now. Insurance is a big deal.
Say it louder for the people in the back.
Insurance is a big deal. No one has an answer for it. All I know is in the economic forecast that I sat on, that we're still not where FEMA wants us to be with insurance numbers. So it's like, is there going to be another hike? Like, who knows? And the fact that the rates are hovering now between 6.5% and 7%. People who back in, say, circa beginning of 2022, this wasn't the case, right? So insurances were still low and rates were low. So everyone that got into their house, someone who could afford a $350,000 house then, because the insurances have gone up and the rates have gone up, they probably can only afford a $275,000, $300,000 max house because of what their monthly notes can be.
Oh yeah, definitely jumped into their buying power. Took a severe hit when all of those things started coming into play.
I lost a good chunk of clients, buyer clients, that way because we were looking at homes that were $350,000, for example, and then when they realized that the insurances went up and the rates went up, and they realized that they couldn't afford that much anymore comfortably, because I always advise my people, never go house poor. You never want to live to pay off your house.
No, never.
So, they were like, well, now I'm holding all these other houses to this standard of this $350,000, and nothing's there, and so we're just going to rent.
Right.
And things have not really changed since that happened. So, I was on a listing appointment yesterday in Mid-City, and Mid-City has 18 months supply of inventory. A 6 months or under is a strong seller's market. So you're times 3 right now. So the people are just not buying.
Right.
And Mid-City's a hot area. So the fact that, that just goes to show you that the buyers are on the sidelines right now waiting for something to change. And you're always going to have somebody that needs to buy a house, but at the same time, the frenzy that we usually see during the summer months, which are the hottest for real estate here in New Orleans.
Pun intended.
Yes. No kidding, especially in August. It's not how it usually goes. Usually the cycle goes, you know what I mean? I would say from the end of October to Mardi Gras is usually kind of slow. But then from Mardi Gras to the end of October is usually generally very busy.
Right.
So it just hasn't been as busy because people can't afford what they need.
And I like that you jumped into that, because knowing insurance, I mean, I can let you know now, estimated insurance used to be easier. now, you never know. It is a very wide spectrum.
Yeah.
So I think setting that expectation and being on the same page with the lender, maybe getting those insurance quotes up front on houses that you're interested in, making sure that you're not house broke. So that's why I think it's very important to set those expectations and try not to lowball the insurance just to make that little bit sweeter. Because for me as a lender, I want these people to feel comfortable and confident with that purchase.
Yeah.
And to put them into something they're struggling to make the payment or deciding whether they're getting gas or groceries is not something that I want to be in.
No, and part of our job is to absorb our client's stress. You as a lender, you absorb your client's financial stress. Me as a realtor, I absorb my client's stress about, decision making and I mean, buying a home is one of the, if not the largest purchase a person is going to make in their life.
Mm-hmm.
So absorbing their stress, making it as seamless and smooth as possible so that they are not or as least stressed as they possibly can be is part of our job. Like we're half therapist, half agent or lender. We wear many hats. Exactly right. We sure do. And so, taking that weight off of them and putting it on us, it's like we don't just go through our own stresses, we take on others as well. And, that it does weigh on people sometimes doing that. But at the same time, if you care, which I know you do, and I definitely care about my people too much sometimes, but it's like, you want what's best for them. You know that they are going through a stressful transaction because it's a lot of money. No matter what, even $100,000 house tear down is still a stressful transaction because it's $100,000.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I know these people who were, into the game, wanting that 350, going back to the 250, and then they decide to rent. But man, renting, you're paying 100% of that landlord's whatever rate that they're in, much less one of yours.
Right.
So, I mean, for me as a lender, perception is everything.
Yeah.
So when you can help people think about things differently and like, hey, maybe you don't have that $350,000 house right now, but if we can get you in a 250 now, you're building equity. You're not paying somebody else's note. And who knows, you might keep this and build equity and build a portfolio from there because you just need a place to start.
100%.
Your first home is not going to be your forever home. Just start somewhere.
That's right.
And then whether you take that leap into that 350 next year or the year after that, at least at that point, you'll have built up some equity that you might be able to use to your advantage.
100%. 100%.
And I think we already touched on it, man. You're so good at this. I was going to ask you how you build trust with a new client.
I'm an open book, and I like to think that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I say what I think, and especially when it comes to sitting across the table from a seller who's wanting to list their property, I'm very real, and I will tell someone if I don't think it's a good fit. Granted, I wasn't always like that. I always just say yes to everything, right? But now that I understand that saying no and removing the toxicity of potentially taking that client on and going through 6 months to even a year of just stress of dealing with that one particular person, you know what I mean? It's like, if I think that your house needs to be priced at X and you think your house needs to be priced at Y, and I am very, very adamant about doing my homework. So whenever I come and sit across from someone, I have my notes printed out for them on a piece of paper with a whole report and everything like that. So like, I don't make the numbers. I just translate them.
Right.
Okay. So like, if you're arguing about what I'm presenting to you, then it's not going to be a good fit anyway, because I'm just telling you the truth and you don't want to accept that truth.
I'm a firm believer in this, man. It wouldn't hurt if it wasn't the truth.
That's right.
Wouldn't hurt if it wasn't the truth. Right. And as a lender, you always want to say yes. You always want to figure out how. So for me, I heard this in a recent podcast as well, is I'll never tell you no, but I'll tell you how to get there. And some people want that immediate answer.
Yeah.
And I can answer it for you. It may not be the answer that you want, but that's why I think you and I are great at coaching, because we can structure a game plan for next month, 3 months, 6, 9, 12 months from now. And as long as you commit to the game plan and you're disciplined for it, now we're cooking. Now we're cooking, and now we're working towards the same goal.
Well, and this comes full circle. Like, people are their own worst enemy. You can sit there and you can literally write out someone's entire business plan for them, but if they don't take the action to execute it, then they're not going to achieve it.
No.
So
spinning wheels.
And I mean, unfortunately, I've had a lot of people that I've done that for, where I'm like, look, this is what you need to do. This is exactly how you need to do it, and then they just don't.
Oh yeah, then they go do their own thing
And it's
and buy that boat or that new car.
I'm not your daddy. You know, I'm not your daddy. I'm not going to come and pat you on the butt and say, "Come on, you're going to do this.
Yeah,
Come
good
on,
job.
you're going to do this." You know what I mean? Like you do, and then when you hit a wall, you come back to me, and then it's like, okay, this is how we get through that.
Right.
Okay. It's not, you know, I'm not going to baby you. You know, that's not the way I coach. I'm going to give you the tools to be successful and show you exactly how to do that. If you hit some kind of roadblock or something, we'll brainstorm and work through it. But like, we're adults, you know what I mean? And I've achieved what I have achieved because of the drive and the action that I've taken. And I've done a lot of things wrong, okay? A lot of trial and error. But also I try to teach that to my people. Like, you know, don't do this. Definitely don't do this. When I first started, I bought 1,000 pens. 1,000 pens with my branding on it. Back in the day, when I first started, my business was Top NOLA Properties. Funny story behind that. I got an email from GoDaddy saying, "Oh, topnolaproperties.com is available." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty catchy. I'm going to call that my business." Right. But anyway.
Hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what all these pins said. And then 3 years later, I have a box of 999 pins after I rebranded to my current company, MDL Homes and Luxury, and they all went in the dumpster.
Nice. Hey, speaking of MDL Homes and Luxury, man, let's do a little plug. I know you said these people can find these packets and find everything. Yeah. Where can they find those at?
So mdl-homes.com is my website. I have guides for everything, down to new parents' guide to home ownership, list of contractors every single year. I vet and update my list of contractors. I have someone for every job that you would ever need. You know, buying guide, seller's guide, insurance guide, relocation guide. I have guides for everything that I've personally put together, and you can easily download them for free from my website. Instagram.
Give us that website one more time, Danny.
mdl-homes.com.
And look, I did my homework on Danny. Go check out that website. It is beautiful. It's beautifully crafted, man, and it is user friendly. So go in there, jump in there, and make the most of it. He's got stuff there that is going to bring you value, bring your clients value, even other agents, man. Go take some tips and tricks from this guy. He's got it.
And even, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but if you're moving from New Orleans somewhere else, okay, and, you know, say you rent here, but you're going to buy a home somewhere, you got relocated for a job, whatever the case may be, I actually can find and screen agents in other cities to make sure that you find the right person that's going to work for you, and not just some agent that's looking for a cash grab. So, you know, and I have that link on my side as well.
Dude, above and beyond, this dude does it all. I love it.
Yeah.
Man, Danny, what's something you wish more clients knew about working with an agent and lender as a team?
Well, I think the fact that we are partners in a transaction is the most important thing. I had a talk with John Teague the other day, plug for John Teague. Talked with him about just the fact that if it's dealing with the financial aspect of anything, as far as getting the loan or what your monthly payments are going to be or anything, that is like the lender, right? Like I stay in my lane. Every single thing that has to do with that home is on me. Every single thing that has to do with finances and affording it is the lender. We are partners, and there's two different heads, right? So if you have a question about that, the lender's going to answer that. I have a blacklist of lenders that I will never use again, and that's because people don't communicate with me. Communication is everything. Or people who have, you know, dropped the ball and stuff, and people who are there's so many people out there that'll blow smoke, and this goes back to authenticity, right? So many people that'll blow smoke saying they can do this for you, they can do this for you, and then when it gets down to it, they can't. So you need to have a great lender that is trustworthy. And if a realtor recommends a lender to you, that means that they have worked with that lender in the past, that they know that they have your best interest at heart and can actually get the job done. So anytime a realtor recommends a lender to you, don't take it with a grain of salt. Like, truly explore the options. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing worse. I hear it all the time, man. Over promising and under delivering.
For sure.
And that just goes from people like you spoke about earlier, man, doing your homework, understanding the numbers, understanding the financial situation that the client is in, understanding all the different programs that are available to them. Don't corner these people in and back them into a corner by using one and only program that might be your specialty. There are so many options out there, so many available programs. Let's explore all those options and put the ball in the court of the client. Like, hey, what is your budget? What else do you have aside from Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus? Like, what are your monthly obligations aside from what I can see on your credit report, to where we can make sure that, one, you're not house broke, two, you're comfortable and confident moving forward throughout the process. Because if Danny referred you to me and I made your house broke, now you're mad at me and Danny, right, even though we did all we can on what you wanted. But we want to make sure y'all are comfortable and confident throughout the entire process.
And as a realtor, don't ever pressure your clients to do anything. Like, if your clients aren't sure about a house, like, just provide them with information, right? Don't ever say, well, I think this is the one you need to get. You know what I mean? Like, because it's probably a 10 out of 10. Every time someone has purchased a home that I have showed them, they've walked in and gotten the feeling. There is the feeling. You walk into a home and
it's real.
And you can truly imagine your future in this space. You can imagine going to work all day, coming home, walking through the door. This is your safe space. And every single time it happens. And that's what I tell all of my buyer clients. Like, look, you'll know. Because you'll be willing to spend as much money as you can to get that particular home because you love it so much. Like, obviously not to go house board, but just like you want that place. You know, if there's any fringe or twitch of doubt once you walk into a house, it's not the one.
No, not at all.
And I pride myself on never ever pressuring anyone. I always provide the facts. I always provide information and guide, but I'll never push. I will never ever push.
No, not at all. And like you said, man, people can feel that. People can smell that. One thing that I like to do, and hey, who knows, I may have lost a client here and there because of this, but me and my team were very thorough. So if we're asking for documents, if we're asking for information, it's necessary to the process because we've been through those pitfalls. We've learned that lesson the hard way before. And man, in this business, when you get burned on a guideline or something like that, you never forget. So you want to do all you can to make sure that that never happens again for your future clients. Yep. Because in this business, man, reputation's everything. And if you get the reputation of you are over-promising and under-delivering, you might wind up on Danny's blacklist.
Yeah. It's not a great place to be.
Not a great place to be, man. And one of the best things that we can do as a team is setting those expectations early. So, I mean, you can have a person fill out an application, you can pre-qualify them, you can pre-approve them all day, but set the expectations on timelines, on financials, on where would be best in maybe a school zone if they're looking for their family, or maybe that future home that they're looking to get into later on down the line.
Well, Nate, you know what a lot of people don't know about speaking to a lender that I've learned? A lot of people don't know that lenders don't have to do hard pulls of credit in order to be able to tell you what you are approved for a home. Lenders can almost financially guide you to a point where you can just keep check where you are. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can call a lender anytime, for example, you or John or whoever, and they can literally say, okay, this is what I have. Let me fill out this application. Don't do a hard pull of my credit. And just tell me where I stand and what I can afford. And then they can also guide you and say, if you want to achieve this price point, then this is what you have to do. Mm-hmm. And these are the steps you have to take. And then that puts it all into perspective. So, like, I feel like people are so worried to reach out to a lender because it makes it real. right? It makes it real. You're reaching out to a lender, you are actively trying to get a loan for a 15 or 30-year mortgage for a home, and it's a big deal. But at the same time, you can reach out to lenders and you can have that conversation to set your goal of what you want to do.
That's it. I love the heat check, man, because what we do is we do a soft pull to where it really doesn't hit you as a hard inquiry.
Exactly.
So when we can do a soft pull, we're seeing where you're at on your monthly obligations. If you can get us those pay stubs, W-2s, we can do a verification of employment and whatnot, and we can really see where you're at income-wise, qualifying income-wise, whether you're self-employed, whether you're a W-2 employee or whatnot. We can really check to see where you're at to where when you are ready to hit the ground running, then we'll do the hard pull. Then it's really real. So really just open up the gates, check where you're at in the game to where we can make sure that we're setting expectations and we're setting clear goals that can become a reality for you and really make those dreams of home ownership come true.
Yep. It costs you nothing at all to speak with a lender and heat check to see where you stand. It costs you nothing. And it puts everything into perspective. And when you have everything in perspective and you have the numbers of what you need in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish in the American dream of home ownership, like, all it takes is a conversation. No money. Doesn't cost you anything.
That's it. Hey, nowadays, some of these people don't even know how to have a conversation. They'd rather text. And if that's the case, look, we got all the technology available to us. We can text, we can email, we can talk. But I love to have those conversations with people because then you get to know the real me. I get to really hear that inflection in your voice to figure out what your priorities are. And one thing that I like to do that I feel like it kind of separates myself is I like to work backwards. One of the first questions that I like to ask is, where are you at comfortably with the new monthly budget? Where do you want to be at? Because I feel like a lot of times I can absolutely overqualify people and I can qualify them for a $500,000 house, but budget wise and where they want to be on that monthly note is only going to support a $350,000 home.
Exactly.
So instead of wasting your time, the client's time, me and my team's time, we're going to go ahead and set that expectation on the front end. Like, hey, listen, you can afford $500,000, but you're probably going to be house broke because what you want to pay monthly is a $350,000 home. So that's where we're going to be cooking at. That's where we're going to be searching. You're not going to take Danny Hall around town with these $500,000 homes when you're never going to be comfortable buying that anyway. So that's one of the first questions that I love to ask because I feel like it really sets the tone and sets the expectation with the buyer, with the client. And then when you can go ahead and tell your agent that, like, hey, listen, I don't care what any other lender told you that they can be $400,000 or $500,000. They're lowballing insurance, and they're really more comfortable in the $350,000 home. Yeah. Now, if we find something a little bit better, maybe some newer renovations, a newer build, and we're going to have cheaper insurance, yeah, we might be able to stretch that to $375,000, $400,000. But at least we have a starting point on where you're comfortable at.
Yep. And on the real estate side of that as well, just to kind of piggyback on it, like we've already discussed about how it's a very strong buyer's market right now, right? So like the amount of inventory in the city of New Orleans is like insane. You know, people who think that the real estate market is just a generalization around the whole country is not true. Every single nook and cranny or pocket area has its own market. You know what I mean? So as a buyer, you know, if you are approved for $500,000, but you really only want to pay a monthly mortgage that is an amount of $350,000, because it's such a buyer's market, you can look at homes that are like $400,000 because those homes have been sitting on the market for a while. And if the sellers want to sell and they haven't gotten any offers, they have to negotiate. I can't even tell you how many times I have gotten homes down on price for my buyers. So many.
Oh, yeah.
And the sellers have to negotiate. They have to.
Especially on a motivated seller who has to sell.
That's right.
They are just completely upside down on having to pay this note, that note. They probably just went and got a couple of cars, and they have to sell, and they have to negotiate. So when you can be on the same page as with your agent, with your lender, and have those expectations on the front end, like, hey, maybe if this home has been sitting 30, 60, 90, 100 days, let's go take a swing at it.
And a lot of realtors don't know how to interpret these things either. You know what I mean? They don't know how to view these things as far as negotiation power for them.
And that goes back to thinking outside the box, like we started this whole episode.
Yeah. You know, and it's an agent will say, oh, this house is priced this way, we have to submit a full price offer, and they don't even guide their client because they're trying to make that extra money for their commission.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's another thing. Like, I learned very early on, it's not about the commission at all.
No.
It's not about it. And now, granted, when I first started, that was all I wanted to do, was make more money, right? But it ended up not being about that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a family that I helped of a good friend of mine who he had a bunch of kids, and they were living in a trailer with a leaky roof. Every time it rained, them and the 3 kids, they're literally leaking in their trailer. They're miserable. Okay. And I think 2 of their kids had special needs. So we're on the spectrum. And, I helped them find an acre of land in Pearl River with a huge manufactured home, and had to jump through a ton of hoops to help them get it. But during our final walkthrough, when we were done, they were crying in there. They were so happy that they found a place. They had their kids running around in the open space. They had their puppy that was running around with the kids. The kids were happy. The grandma was there crying. I was crying. And it's like I don't care what money I'm making from this. This is so much more important than commission. This is truly helping a family that was at their lowest point achieve that goal they never thought they were going to get to, for the better of their life, the better of their future and their kids. And from that day on, it's just been like, I don't like whatever. Commission. I'm not working for free.
No, not at all.
But at the same time, it's not about the commission. It's about the people.
It's about the people. And that, for me, brings me back to, one of my solo episodes that I did. And it brings me back to success versus fulfillment. And the quote goes like this: success is what you want. Fulfillment is what you're made for.
But they really go in tandem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, when you do and you're authentic and you truly believe in what you're doing and you truly come from a servant heart and understand that, you're helping these people on their journey of life.
Yes.
Then that leads to success.
Yep.
Because people see that you are true to yourself and true and trustworthy and loyal, and you will go to the end of the earth for these people. And they see that. Oh
yeah, those testimonials from the people that you move mountains for, they have so much more weight when it comes to, listen, this man, Danny, changed my life.
Yes.
By going above and beyond and listening to my priorities, to making sure that I had something worthwhile for my family in this next step in life.
It makes me so happy when people leave reviews on my sites, and you can read them all on my website. But it's when they write paragraphs, and it's just so gratifying, because this person, obviously I touched this person and helped impact this person's life in such a positive way that they took the time to write this very long, detailed review telling people that how much I helped them. And that alone is just so gratifying.
So gratifying, man. And if somebody out there, if an agent, if a lender, if it's not me and it's not Danny, if they help change your life, take those couple of seconds, couple of minutes out of your busy day to write a little something about them. Because I tell you, when we get those reviews and we get to read them and figure out how we touched your life, it truly, truly helps us take it to another level for the next deal that we do. Because that's the fulfillment that we live for. That's what we do it for. We do it for you. We do it for your families. And we help try to do that, separate ourselves to give you that generational wealth step that you may have never had.
100%.
Yeah, and just talking about how you can really move mountains for people, I love to really shake things up, and I love saving a deal as much as the next lender. But when somebody reaches out to you and they don't have any money whatsoever, they don't know where to start, they don't know where to begin, call a lender. See what options are out there. I have 2 deals that I'm working on right now where literally buyer is coming to the table with no money at all. So when you can relay that type of information to an agent and, hey, listen, I've been working with this buyer. We have a certain program to where we can get down payment covered for. You touched on it being a buyer's market. maybe we don't come down on price, but maybe we get those seller concessions that our buyer needs to close the deal.
Right.
How important is it to understand what program and what timing is necessary to help make dreams like that come true for a client?
Well, people need to understand that sellers only look at the bottom line of things, right? So an offer for $350 with $10,000 in closing costs is the same as an offer for $340.
Bingo.
Okay. So, and at the same time, a buyer has to bring less money to closing because that's that $10,000 is basically wrapped into your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's important to do that because not only do you have to bring less money to the closing, but also you can even use seller concessions to buy down your rate, or do like a 2-1 rate buy down to where your rate will be 1% less or 2% less that first year, 1% less the next year. And then by the third year, the rates may be down so much that you can refinance.
Correct.
And then you're like set. So people just need to understand that there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat in the real estate game. And when you have a seasoned agent that has done probably 90% of these different programs and trying to figure out how to navigate and make things work to where it's working in the most beneficial way to your clients, like those are the people that you want to work with.
Yes.
Because a lot of people aren't educated enough to know that these programs exist. They have one lender that has 0 programs that they just know of that they refer everyone to, and that is not saving your client as much money as they can save.
Right.
I've gotten some people the government grants, and I've gotten it to where there's been a rural development loan, right, to where these little pockets of the city specifically are offered 100% financing. And if you get 100% financing, say you want to buy a house in one of these little pockets, and you get the seller to cover the closing costs, you're bringing $0 to closing.
Sometimes you get money back. In an essence of you having to put that $1,000 deposit down, and we go ahead with the rural development loan, and we're appraising above what we're at, and we're getting the seller concessions in ways you're getting that deposit back. So I'm giving you your money back, 0 money to the table, and we're making dreams come true.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to align myself with is making sure that I'm on the same page. I understand what programs are out there. I relay the message to my agents on, hey, this is the program we're going for. Make sure the home ticks all of these boxes, because going with a conventional loan in comparison to FHA or RD, those are government-backed homes, and me as a lender has to make sure that you as an agent understand what program we're going with, because you as the agent know if that home can pass FHA, RD guidelines or appraisals.
Right.
And if you don't know, ask.
Right. And to that point, like going back to saying how we're partners in the industry, so I'm not showing anyone a home unless they've spoken with the lender first, unless they're paying cash, obviously. But, because I know I'm very busy, and I want to give my people the time of day. But at the same time, if you're not going to give yourself the time of day to understand where your finances are and what you can afford, then you're not seriously considering purchasing a home.
No, you're window shopping.
So, yeah, exactly right. And so, to that point, when you do speak with a lender and we are seeing homes, we take those addresses of the ones that, maybe you are in between two that you're like, both of these are perfect, but one has a garage and this other one has a back deck, or this other one is right across from a park, or, whatever these little discrepancies are, but you love both the homes. Those addresses come to the lenders, and they help shop those insurances as well. So you can see where you need to be financially with both of those homes, as far as what the closing costs are going to be, what your taxes are going to be, what your insurances and closing costs as a whole are going to be. So it's all about getting all of that understood up front, even before we submit an offer, because you want everything to be very transparent. You want everything to be understood, so there's no surprises. Surprises are the killer of all real estate deals. So bulletproofing every little piece of a transaction is absolutely imperative. You want to have a solution for everything that might come up preemptively.
Oh yeah.
And so, that's
as a coach, we got to have a plan A, B, and C for sure.
Not to, it's just super important to understand that not every realtor or lender is created equal. Where every single one is different. And I work for Keller Williams, right? I work for the Keller Williams in Metairie, and Keller Williams. Everyone knows who Keller Williams is. Keller Williams is just a conglomerate real estate agency, but people don't hire me because I work for Keller Williams. People hire me because I am an authentic, seasoned agent, and because I am an expert in my field, right? I could work for Keller Williams, I could work for some mom and pop brokerage, but I still will be me, and I am selling myself, right? Like I am myself, and I am who I am.
Absolutely, you're your own brand. You're your own brand, and I love that, and that's what people gravitate towards, man. They of course they love to hear the Keller Williams, but I mean it is such a cherry on top that you as MDL works with and for Keller Williams, but you're bringing Danny Lester to the table.
Yeah, exactly.
You're giving yourself to the clients to where they know who you are, your authentic your brand, and they know that you are going to swing for the fences for them.
Exactly.
Danny, what if you had to give everybody one tidbit on what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received in your real estate career? And I know you've had a lot, so I know this is a tough question, but if you had one sense of advice, what's one of the first things that comes to mind?
Cool. I think probably the most important thing that I've ever the most important thing that I've ever been taught or shared is that it's okay to start over.
Dive into that.
Yeah, it's like there's a story where there's a fly, and the fly is in the home, and there's a window, and the window's closed, and the fly is constantly flying. The fly's constantly flying into the window, banging itself, killing itself. Right behind the fly, there's an open back door. And if the fly would just turn around and fly out the back door, the world is there. But the fly doesn't see the back door because it's not looking for it. So one of the most important pieces, like I said, about how I was top Nola Properties and kind of rebranded myself to MDL Homes and Luxury, in starting over and rebranding and doing all of that, it really took me to another level. Branding for myself rather than just a company name, and presenting myself and advertising myself and who I am really helped me blossom. And I was very worried about that because I spent so much money on branding and everything for that company. But it is okay to start over. Like, you gotta stop flying into the closed window when the door is wide open behind you.
Right.
And that's probably one of the most important pieces of advice I've gotten.
Love it. Love to hear it, man. And look, we're coming into a little seventh inning stretch right here. We are coming into the final innings of this game that we got going on. Danny, I want to really jump into something that's really important to you and myself, man. Mindset, momentum, and a message. What is something that keeps you going when the market is slow or feeling tough?
My white space time. I mean, you keep doing things the same way. If they're not working, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So having that time to truly reflect on things as a whole and truly brainstorm and write down new ideas and truly just think of ideas, only having a time of day dedicated towards coming up with new ideas is stupid important to me anyway. And it's truly blossomed my career, just being able to do that, because once you have the ideas there, then that's where you create a plan around them, and everything just kind of starts from this baseless foundation and just constantly, slowly is stops her up.
How long have you been working with the white space?
I've been working with the white space for probably the last 2 years.
Last 2 years? What is the one of the most creative things that you've ever came up with on your white space?
My open house method. my open house method. So,
and y'all ain't gonna get that unless you tune in to MDL right here. So y'all lock in and see what that open house method is, because we're not giving you free game right here. We'll give you the tidbit, but you got to lock in and get with Danny if you really want to know the ins and outs of that.
Yeah, I mean, just to just briefly touch on it, it's like I used to not like open houses. I used to think it was a waste of time. I'm hosting an open house. You might get one or two people that walk in, but you know, when I really sat down and thought about it, I was like, okay, well, who's to say that I can't just have a party and invite all the neighbors to an open house? Why can't I do that?
Hello. Everybody likes a party.
You know, have a lender like Nate bring some food. Have a insurance company bring some drinks, and you know, invite the neighbors and make an actual event out of it. And instead of just, hey, I'm having this open house from 1 to 3. People come see the house. You know, have an event, because guess what? Neighbors want to choose who they live next to.
That they do.
And then also, as a realtor, you can show them how hard you work in promoting your listing, that they probably will want to use you to list their home in the future, because they see how.
Love it, man. Listen, priceless, free game right here coming from Michael Danny Lester. Y'all lock in. Y'all reach out to him, because he has got some incredible ideas, man, especially forming from that white space.
Yep.
Danny, what's your biggest motivator right now?
My daughter, of course.
Preach.
My daughter. She is amazing. Amazing. She'll be 5 September 3rd, so she's just at that point where we're starting to have like serious conversations about some things. You know, about reality and about it's kind of great. She's kind of very comfortable with the concept of death, which is very strange. But as a young person, but you know, I try to tell her, like, look, we have a soul, and this is what I believe. Probably not a lot of people believe it, but like, you know, we have a soul. There is a higher power. And, you know, when you die, your soul becomes one with everything. It turns back to energy, and the energy floats around and is one with everything until you decide to have another human experience and get put back in a meat suit. And,
Love it.
And my daughter understands that. And so it's just weird when hearing her talk about it. And she's even said, she's like, yeah, you know, Dad, I'm going to be around, you know, longer than you after you die. And I'm like, well, you're very comfortable talking about those things. You know what I mean? But just she is my biggest driver. She deserves the world, and everything that I could possibly do is for her and for my wife, Melissa, and to make sure that my family is completely happy. And the true goal, I think the American dream has gone from owning a home to just being financially comfortable. If you just have your finances to where you don't have to worry about the bills that are coming out this month. You don't have to worry about going to this restaurant to spend for dinner. You don't have to worry about it. You can do it, and you know that you're not going to sink. I think that is the new American dream. And, you know, the economy is what it is, and it's very difficult and challenging for people to stop focusing on the rat race. And because like full circle, fly banging into the window. You know, it's like you're working this job, you're trying to make ends meet, you're financially stressed. The door is open behind you. There is no law that says that you have got to continue working this job if it's not providing for you.
Right.
In fact, you're probably inhibiting yourself from accomplishing what you truly can to the best of your potential, because you think that you're locked in and you're stuck, but you're not. That is all in here.
Yep.
You create that reality for yourself. So, you know, that's... You know.
I already know this isn't going to be the last episode, because I'm all into energies and frequencies too, so we're going to save that for another one.
That's going to have to be on my podcast.
Oh, absolutely. Mindset coming soon, baby. What message would you give to somebody chasing their goal but struggling to stay consistent?
Use your calendar. Like, I can't stress enough. I'm so religious about my calendar. If you have goals, you need to see what your goals are all the time. You need to have a whiteboard in your room, in your office, in your closet, wherever. You need to have your goals clearly defined on there, so you're always seeing them. Number one. Number two, using your calendar, like we were saying about setting the 5-year goal and working backwards, you need to set your calendar for the week ahead every Sunday. And if you erase, you must replace. So, life happens, well, my kid's sick at school, I got to go pick him up. You got to replace that. Because if you don't, that's when things start falling apart. You have to stay consistent, you have to stay focused, and you have to always be looking at what your true goal is, or you won't accomplish it. And you'll think, you know what, it's just easier for me not to wake up at 5 a.m. today and go to the gym. It's just easier for me to sleep in. Then the next day the same happens. Then the next day the same thing happens. And sure enough, you're a month down and you're like, there's no way I'm getting motivated to go back into the gym because you selected comfort.
Oh yeah, motivation only lasts so long. You have to be disciplined.
You have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yep, because on that other side of uncomfortable is growth.
That's right, 100%. So the more you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, the more you learn, the more you understand how your psyche reacts in those situations, the more you can do it more and grow in this human experience that we're having.
I love it, man. Listen, that is how we hustle, hit, and never quit.
This has been a blast.
When you're aligned with your purpose, the hustle is fueled by passion, the hits come from persistence, and quitting isn't even an option. So because you're chasing something bigger than yourself, man, keep going.
Keep going. 1% better every day. That's it.
That's it, man. What an episode, man. Big love. Huge thanks to my guy, Michael Danny Lester, for showing up, speaking truth, and bringing that real energy.
Yep.
Danny, once again, man, where can people follow you, connect with you? Let them know.
So everywhere, I'm at Sell with MDL, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you want to find me, on TikTok. And then my website is www.mdl-homes.com. And you can read all the reviews that all my clients have left me there, get all my guides. You can search for homes on there periodically as well, and reach out to me. I got my number plastered everywhere you could find it.
I love it, man. This dude's an open book, man. He is filled with incredible ideas, filled with passion, and he is ready to pour that out into his communities, into y'all, and making sure that all of us grow together, man. So from teamwork to trust, from passion to purpose, we hit on it all today. This right here is what it's all about. Success is cool, but fulfillment, that's legacy.
Yeah, you're right.
So to everyone out there listening, whether you're in real estate, sales, sports, or just trying to level up in life, remember this. Stay aligned with your purpose. Don't chase the bag, chase the impact.
And remember your big why.
Remember your why, man. And build a squad that believes in communication, honesty, and growth. And above all, hustle, hit, and never quit. So y'all out there, man, this is the first one with a guest where we are just getting warmed up. So if this episode lit a fire under you, man, feel free to reach out, share it with somebody who needs it, follow, subscribe, shoot us a DM. I want to know what resonated with you most. I want to hear from you. So until next time, stay blessed, stay locked in, and keep swinging for the fences.
Peace out.
Peace.